Hey friends, happy Wednesday to you. It is so awesome to be here with you. Today, of course, is always a fun day. I know Greg has a lot of robotic news. I probably spilled the beans before Greg was even able to get on here, but I think he's going to share some pretty cool robotic stuff. And of course, I'm going to keep you on top of all things business finance. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just hint this. I think I might have content just as exciting as Greg's content today. So let's see if I can actually pull this off. But for those of you who are here, thank you so much, our friends, for being here. I see Joshua joining us, CrossX Fighter, on YouTube Live. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're joining us on a replay, we love having you there with us as well. As you know, what makes this show really special is what Greg has mentioned before, is that you are part of the show and we love your engagement. So I'm Winnie Sun, co-host with Greg Nibbler here on In the Loop, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and host of Level Up, which can also be found on NASDAQ. And of course, today is Wednesday. So, Greg, I don't know, did I blow it for you? Because I feel like I just spilled the beans on what you're going to talk about.
No, I think it's good. I've been posting about it all week. So anybody that follows me has probably already seen me talking about a lot of robots. So it's a very robot-y week this week in technology. And that's what we're going to be covering when we get to that. And I'm Greg Nibbler. In case you haven't seen me before, I'm a longtime tech reporter. Thanks for being here. Really love everybody being here for the loop. And as Winnie said, engaging, dropping in your comments, your questions. Some of the things I'm going to talk about are actually things that were sent to me to talk about today. So yeah, very exciting about that. And lots of fun stuff. So I want to get people's opinions when we get to that. But now I'm really excited since you teased your segment so good. I want to know what it is that you're going to be covering, because I actually don't know. So, but no behind the scenes where I actually know, and I'm saying that. No, I don't know what Winnie's going to talk about. So I'm excited to hear.
Oh my goodness, Greg, I'm kind of a little bit jealous. So they actually sent you stuff that you're going to be sharing today. Okay, for those of you who are watching, please share. Send me some stuff too. I want to send some stuff. Send it to me via direct message. If you have anything cool, business finance, business finance news is so amazingly cool, right? Okay. But anyway, so since you're sending stuff to Greg, send it to me too. I'd love to see it. So Greg, I'm really excited to see what they're going to share with you. And yes, I've got some really juicy, sweet news to share with you today. But let's start with the market, Greg. And I think this is kind of positive too, because the Dow closed up 416 points, and the NASDAQ up 319, which we love, and the S&P 500 also up 63 points. Now, across the board, all three indices up strong. You might be asking, what happened? What changed overnight? Did things just all of a sudden get better in a week? No, it's something called coin, or not in coin, but I'm going to translate this because I've been reading financial news obviously all day and all week. I'm going to translate this to bottom fishing. So what does bottom fishing mean? That means that there's a lot of investors out there that are looking at the financial markets and saying, things might start to be getting a little bit better. Maybe we've got to a point where inflation is starting to get a little bit more reasonable. We've seen gas prices kind of settle down a little bit. And maybe, just maybe, we've already hit that recessionary level and better days could be ahead. Now, also, I want to say the CDC also, we heard a little bit of a leak, if you will, saying that the CDC might start to make things a little bit more open for the coronavirus and whatnot. So I think people are feeling that that's a positive thing as well. But bottom fishing means that you're looking and you're saying, I don't want to be left behind. And maybe this is a time for me to add to my retirement account or whatnot. So I'm going to try and buy on weakness. So that's sort of my projection on that. All right, Greg, you ready? Because I have some things fun. I have a lot of fun things to share with you today.
I am ready.
Okay, so I'm not even sure which one to share first. Okay, so let me do this first. And I'm super excited to share with you, is this news. Now, some of you may not be loving your job, right? You might have been thinking, maybe I'll do something different. Maybe I'll try a different job. Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like that my job isn't speaking to me. And, if you're feeling that way and you're joining us on LinkedIn or you're joining on Twitter, please let me know. Please send us a message and let us know, like, how do you feel about your job? Because I just found out about a company that is hiring. Now, this company is called Candy Funhouse. All right. And they are based in Canada. And get this, my friends, they're actually going to pay you $100,000, all right, to work at Candy Funhouse. But the really cool thing about this is, so your job at Candy Funhouse as their sort of chief candy officer, if you will, is to actually eat candy. So you'll be eating candy every day. You'll be tasting different flavors, and you're gonna be deciding which ones get the CCO, the Chief Candy Officer seal of approval, which ones you like the best, which ones you don't like so much. And like, this is what you're going to be doing. And they also said one of the perks, my friends, is not only do you get to taste candy every day and you get paid $100,000 a year, but you also get great dental coverage, which we know is probably going to be important if you're going to, eat that much candy, right? And hopefully it's all like organic, totally awesome candy that's like good for your body. I don't know. That's probably on the fence. You would know better. Let me know what you think about this. Would you want to be the chief candy officer, Greg? How do you feel about that?
Oof, I don't know. That's a lot of candy. I would imagine that you're going to be testing. I think that's good that they have the dental coverage. You probably need to get a gym membership. I would think that would go along with that. Although for $100,000, you can probably get yourself a gym membership. That is an interesting job. I don't know if I would be the most qualified for that, just because for a lot of candy, I'm like, I can't tell the difference between one and another. So I'd be like, all right, well, I just like blue raspberry ones. So
It's
those are all the
good.
winners. Like, that's what I would pick. Cause I was that kid too, like during Halloween when I was a kid, like I would stockpile all of my candy and then divvy it out,
Oh, you took
slowly over time.
inventory.
Yeah, and I would wait till my brother ate all of his candy, and then I would, trade him candy in order to do like chores or something like that. So I feel
I
I was
love
that kid. So I feel like, if I had that much candy, maybe I could work something along those lines. But that's interesting. I want to know what people think if they would want to do that and be the chief candy
Chief
officer.
candy officer. It'd be like a Willy Wonka job. But get
Yeah.
this. Okay, and I see Vicky joining us and I see Sadiq joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Let me share you some more information. So I guess I think it's, you're gonna have like over 100 times the amount of sugar that like a person should have per day. That was
Right.
sort of an article. And also the other thing is, so like the criteria to be this chief candy officer is pretty fluid, meaning like the minimum age is 5 years old. Okay. And there's sort of no limit to how long you could be a chief candy officer. You could be this chief candy officer for your entire life. Not
I don't know
sure.
how long that's going to be.
Yeah, I don't
Testing
know
that
how
much
that
candy.
long that would be. And of course you would be, because I guess this company based in Canada, they're like really big on social. So they would put you on social media. So you'd probably have to be able to speak, comfortably and, confidently on camera. And they wanted to make sure that you have a good golden palate. So they want to make sure that you really know your candy and that you really can quantify what's really awesome and what's really not awesome. And just like Greg, I mean, I was kind of a candy nerd too, because Halloween, I would bring out candy and I would take inventory, and then I would create, okay, financial person, right? I'd create spreadsheets to see how many of like Jolly Ranchers I would have and how many, baby roots I would have to see which ones are good and which one wasn't good, right? And I would go through it. And I know it's a little crazy. Like Vicky is probably laughing right now, but that's okay. But think about it this, right? I mean, in this day and age of inflation and everything, you could get paid to eat candy. And so this position is being posted on LinkedIn. It's like a legit thing. So I know some of you are actually joining me from LinkedIn. So you could actually check this out. I know. I'm going to tell you, I sent some of this information to my creative director, Curtis, and I can see that he's really embraced this story of ours. So, I think they're catching on to something. How clever that would be though, Greg. Like if I own a candy store, I would totally post this opportunity too. If nothing else, talk about the PR you're getting off of this deal.
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
smart,
Yeah. You're getting $100,000 worth of PR just in posting this
right?
right now. Yeah, that is although a 5-year-old, I feel like giving a 5-year-old all that candy may not be the best idea, but they would probably be pretty good at it. They'd be able to tell you what's good or not.
I
You get an
don't know,
honest
Greg.
opinion,
I
but
feel like I just feel
That's a
like
lot of sugar.
that's like diabetes knocking on your door there.
Yes, yeah. Starting at 5 years old, you were
Yeah.
candy tested.
Yeah, I mean, like soon you won't even be able to fit through that door. But they did say that's one of the benefits. So this position, you could work from home. You could work from the office. You can work from Canada. You can work from. I guess you have a headquarters in New Jersey and Canada, so you could pick your location, or you can work from home. I mean,
I wonder if is it kind of like a wine tasting thing where just taste it and like spit it back out, or do you actually have to eat the candy to get the
I think you
full,
get to eat the candy.
you have to eat the whole candy.
I
Okay.
think you're supposed
Okay.
to eat the whole candy. And like not only that, they were saying like, like, this was I saw it on multiple publications. I saw it on CNBC and NPR and Washington Post were writing about this. And what I thought was really interesting is the article says, well, are they really serious? Like, would they really hire a 5-year-old? And they're saying, well, we recognize that a 5-year-old probably in board meetings and whatnot would be a little distracting, but we're going to be creative and see if we can make this work. So, like a typical real like hire would work 40 hours a week, eating candy, sampling candy, doing all things candy. And then if you were younger, right, if you were still in school or whatnot, or like, I don't know, or still in elementary school, I guess it would work around your schedule. So you might not even have to, if you're younger,
Wow.
you might not have to work your 40 hours a week.
Man, that's a pretty good deal then. All right, now
Yeah.
I'm considering this. Maybe I should. I still
Yeah.
don't think I'm the best candidate though. I'll say it right now. But that looks, I mean, that would be a pretty fun. I definitely would have to go to the gym a lot though. There's no way.
Yeah. I think you would just you could never leave the gym. I mean, Greg, I
Yeah,
think
that's all you would have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are listening to this and watching this, enjoying this, I'm going to give you a challenge. If you see an interesting job posting or something that like makes you just chuckle business wise or finance or post, do you send that to me? Because I want mail just like Greg gets mail. All right. Next thing I want to do is share with you this. Now, this thing, Greg, I know that you and I have talked about a little bit before, but this thing I think you're going to really enjoy on. So maybe like you could, use this on top of the candy gig that then you have, right? Which is, so the government is looking to propose a bill that will require airlines to give customers 100% full refund if the airline cancels or significantly delays your flight. I thought this was pretty cool.
Ooh.
So it's going to be called the cash refunds for flight cancellations. Like they couldn't come up with a more creative name, but I mean, you kind of know what they're doing, right? So basically, they want to codify a rule that says that customers who fly, that they're actually going to be offered a full cash refund if your flight has been canceled or significantly delayed with less than 48 hours notice. Now, Vicky, I'm super curious to see how you feel about this because I have heard from my friends who just came back from Europe that like airports are just mayhem in Europe. Tell me, like, if you think about that. I mean, I know Sadiq is saying Greg, Greg Jim is free for life. Okay, Greg Jim is free for life. Got it. Um, yeah, cool. I mean, what do you think about that, Greg? Like, I really like this. I think this is going in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, if you can get a full refund. Now, I wonder what significantly delayed means. Like if there's a certain hour threshold, to where it kicks in. Like I'd want to kind of know those stipulations on there, but I am definitely for that. I mean, I already would have gotten a full refund then earlier this year from a flight that was canceled and then I had to get on a different one. So yeah, I am definitely for that to hold some kind of, I mean, I know there's like, inclement weather and things like that, but if it's like just scheduling the planes, like, yeah, I'm for getting a refund. I'm all for that. Yeah.
I feel like, airlines have a bit to go to make the customer experience a little bit more nice, right? Like even hotels let you cancel up to 48 hours prior. And I think that if airlines were more clients or customer centric, I think people would like be more open to traveling more, knowing that the airline was on their side. But I think like for the government to have to enforce this just means like I feel like airlines, you really have a customer service issue on your hands. Like you just got to be better humans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's the thing, since they all kind of do that and operate that same way, I guess, that's what it's going to take, is somebody forcing them to do it. Because at the end of the day, if you want to fly somewhere, you still have to go on, one of the planes, one of the airlines. So yeah, I like this idea. I'm for this. So this is something they're going to be voting on, or they're just proposing right now?
I guess it's been proposed. I think they're going to try and make this codify, they call it. It's like the real important name. But it's being published by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, which he's a Democrat out of Rhode Island. He
Okay.
said this yesterday. So let's see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
be great.
All for it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I have one more thing before I'm going to jump over to Greg and pass the baton here. But I really want to make sure that everybody was aware of this. And I feel like this company needs a definitely shout out of like being better. Like we need to encourage this company to be better. So you may have heard of the credit company Equifax, huge company.
Mm-hmm.
You heard of Experian, TransUnion. There's Equifax. Well, you may have remembered Equifax was kind of in trouble not that long ago because they had this big data breach. Well, now they're reporting that for about 300,000 of their consumers recently, we're talking like just a few months ago, they actually were sending out incorrect data to them where some of the borrowers or people who have credit scores, recording from them, were actually given numbers that were off by at least 25 points on your credit.
Wow.
So this is kind of huge, right? They called it a coding issue, which Greg, I'm really curious about what a coding issue is. But so this happened on one of Equifax's servers, and they're saying that like 12% of all the credit scores that were released between the dates of March 17th to April 6th were incorrect. So think about like how many people there are that have credit scores here in the United States, talking about people who are like maybe looking to rent an apartment or looking to buy their first house or even buy a car or, even just to get a new credit card because of the incorrect information. I can just imagine how many people were actually negatively impacted by their, incorrect score things. So I feel like we really need to tell Equifax like to get their data up to speed and they gotta fix this.
Yeah, I mean, 25 points, that's a pretty significant amount. Like you said, if somebody's going to buy a house, that's an interest rate that could maybe determine if somebody could get a loan or not. I mean, that's pretty bad. And 12% of them, that's got to be a lot of people, I'm sure, with how big Equifax is. And I imagine how many people use them. I don't know, but I'm sure it's a lot. So 12%, yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, I wonder if there's anything they can do to make up for that to people, or it's just, no, you're just out of luck.
Well, plus during that time, Greg, I remember we were talking about this during that time, and mortgage interest rates were still relatively reasonable. So what if you missed out on getting that like great refinance rate on your house, and now you're stuck with a higher mortgage for the next 30 years? I mean, I just feel like that's and really uncool.
It's really uncool. Yeah, and wondering why your credit score is, off by that much. Unless I guess they gave you more, but I would imagine it's probably less.
I don't think that was it.
Yeah,
I think if it went higher, most of us wouldn't be too disappointed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's definitely a major issue. Somebody in their IT department, whoever handles that side of things, is they need to get up to speed. That is a nice way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. That is interesting situation. But Greg, I want to hear about these robots. I know you were saying we're got robot news today, huh?
Yes, we do. We have robot news. So, tech news right now for new products and stuff, that's going to be coming up later on this month and into September. So right now, taking a look at some cool things. That's robots. If you watch this show, I like robots. So this one here first has to do kind of with food robotics. So robots in kitchens and restaurants and all kinds of places like that. It's going to start happening a lot more and more. You're probably going to end up running into one at some point. But this in particular, what I'm going to talk about, has to do with boba tea. Boba tea has exploded in popularity over the last couple of years. I mean, it's so crazy. Good. Yeah, and I was looking at it, it's like up like I think 2,000% or something like that. Wow. Just ridiculous how many there are. You probably see one. I know here in Portland, just where I'm at, like every food cart pod has one. There's new restaurants all the time or places opening up with it. But this is to expand on that even more. So it's a company called Bobacino. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Bobacino. And they have a boba tea robot that they think is going to help revolutionize boba tea and bring them out to a lot more places. So the way the robot works is you walk up to it. It's got like a little pad there that they said you can highly customize exactly how you want your tea to be, down to a whole bunch of different flavors and all of those things. And then this robotic arm moves along, and it makes the tea for you and then hands it off, and boom, you're on your way. So their thought here is a couple of things. One, that it's going to be very fast. They think it'll be a quicker way to get your boba fix. And on top of that, they want people to actually invest. This is part of what they're saying, is that you can invest in this. And they think that people are going to be able to actually make some money by investing in your own boba tea robot, because they take up such little space that compared it to actually opening up, like, say, a food cart or a food pod, depending on where you are and what you call them, that it's about a quarter of the cost, and it takes up much less space. And really, you just kind of fill it with the ingredients and then let it go. And then it does all the work for you. And then you just come and check up on it every now and then. So they think it's an investment opportunity. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, the robotics behind it, because it looks cool. So I would go try it anyway, because it's a robot. As I think Sadiq just said, Greg loves robots. Yes.
We love robots.
Yeah, I find them fascinating. Some of them scare me, but I find them fascinating. This one doesn't scare me. So they're kind of showing, boba is in America is currently highly concentrated on the coast. So they're saying there's all this opportunity to expand on boba tea, and they think it's going to be a really big thing. $1.9 billion boba boom. That's some good marketing there. So that's what we're looking at, though. A boba tea robot to add, that you may be seeing soon here at like airports or malls or all kinds of different places.
I feel like they should have one in that Canadian candy store, like right in the corner in like the employee lounge. It seems like, candy, boba. I mean, why stop at like might as well go full force into the sugar. But Greg, I don't know. I haven't never told you this, but I feel like our friends at Lego should reach out to you, because you know so much about robots, and I know this is a sincere passion of yours. So I don't know. I mean, like, for those of you who are watching, I think you should tag Lego and tag Greg and put them together, because I feel like, I don't know, like Legos, like robots.
I love that.
I feel like, this.
I love that
channeling
idea.
this right now.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Because yes, I mean, Lego does so much with robotics, and it's just so fun to see kind of the innovation and what people can build. And obviously with Lego, you can build kind of anything that you want. So yeah, seeing how that all works and what people come up with, it's just really, really fun stuff. It's always fun seeing like some of this the innovation, just what people can create, because it's just whatever you can think of now. The more advanced things are getting, the more you can do. So yeah, I would love to see that. Please tag me.
Definitely tag Greg, put them together, so Greg can bring us more of that information. I think it'd be really fascinating, because I do think nowadays, the next generation is so interested in like this boba robot thing. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Because I know I actually, I had a good friend who was in the boba industry. I mean, not robotics, obviously. And you're right. It's a very, very lucrative industry. The cost was relatively low, right? It was mostly labor costs. But if you take that away, robotics can do so many things, right? It can keep things sanitary. They can they never get tired. They don't need breaks. They don't need lunch breaks. And they probably don't need as much insurance too, to have robotics in, like, I think in the kitchen setting, or, I think there's a lot of roles like you have mentioned before. So I'm really curious to see, Greg, more ways that you can use robotics in other ways. I mean, this was really cool. I didn't expect a boba robot.
Yeah, I mean, right. That's what I mean, like, kind of by the innovation too. Is like somebody's like, hey, I like boba tea and I like robots. Let's make a boba bot, out of that's what they came up with. And that was one of the other things they said too, is because there's a labor shortage for a lot of places too, for some of these smaller establishments. So this would help mitigate some of those issues. So you've got the boba robot. There's a bunch of other robotics too that are coming into restaurants. You've got Flippy, which is a burger flipping robot that's out there. Flippy is being used, I think, in White Castle and a few other places are trying out that. And you've got some pizza robots. You've got really a lot of different ones that are kind of being incorporated into quick food. There's one that's converted like a pickup truck into a pizza oven robot that can like pump out pizzas like in 60 seconds. I think it was, maybe it was even less, 45, 60 seconds. So just really, really fascinating things of how, these things that we're so used to, how everything is changing and how it's being incorporated in. And it's happening so fast. That's why I was saying earlier, you're probably going to run into a restaurant that has a robot either helping to serve things or is making food or some other crazy iteration that we haven't thought of. probably sooner than later. If you're going out anywhere to a restaurant, I bet you'll run into one pretty soon. And there's just more and more and more of them. So pretty
Yeah.
fun stuff.
It is really fun stuff. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks. I see many of our friends here on the stream. I'm curious to ask you that question. Do you feel like a robot cooking your food, that you would be missing something that you feel like should be handled by maybe a real cook, right? A kitchen cook or chef. That do you feel like that would take away from your appreciation of the food? Do you feel like it would impact the experience that you had? Or do you think it would elevate? Or do you think you don't care either way? So for those of you who are joining us, I see you on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter Live. If you don't mind, let us know. I'm really curious to see what you think about what Greg just shared. Like if a robot flips your hamburgers, you feel like, yeah, that's good. But what if like in a nicer restaurant setting, a more fine dining, do you feel like there's not a place for robots? I'm really curious to see what you all think, because like there's so many big chain restaurants, right, Greg, that really sort of streamline so that, like, let's say for example, you go to a cheesecake factory in Portland, it should taste like the same cheesecake factory here in California, right? So I would imagine they already somewhat control the ingredients and the percentages and everything else. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just thinking
Yeah.
out loud here.
Right. No. So yeah, maybe more places like that. But you're right, for some of the dining experience. I mean, you want that personal touch to it, and I think something for fast food or faster food or kind of big chains like that, I think it does make a little bit more sense. But you're right. You want if you're really a foodie, and you want a culinary experience, I don't think a robot can replace that. I don't think you're going to have a robot that's going to be, I'm sure you could program someone to be like a gourmet chef, but it's going to be exactly the same thing every time. And there's no flair to it or changing it up or no personal touch to it. I don't think that's something that a robot's going to be able to replace anytime soon. It'd have to, I think we're a ways off from that. Hopefully anyway, we'll have to see. But yeah, but whatever people think about that, it's a really interesting question, because for some people, they may not want this at all. They only prefer.
So let's share some comments because I see these coming in. So like, for example, CrossX Fighter is saying if the burger robot is Flippy, then the pizza robot would be Twirly. That's cute. I like that. And then Vicky is joining us from Facebook Live, and she's saying more hygienic from robot. I was thinking that too. I do like the idea. I think robots are certainly a lot easier to just clean off, and like they're probably wear and tear, but probably that's more manageable, because I'm guessing a lot of that's like reusable materials versus humans, right? Humans were naturally just different. And then CrossX Fighter is saying, I'm curious about how these cooking robots would function in restaurants. That's what I was saying. I'm really curious on that point as well. And then Sadiq is saying, can you imagine to replace Salt Bay with a robot? I'm not sure what Salt Bay is. Do you know,
I'm
Greg?
not sure. No, I don't know. Maybe that's something in Florida. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, here in California, I'll just mention like Thomas Keller, who's considered like one of the most renowned chefs in the world, right? I just cannot see Thomas Keller ever having a robot in his kitchen, except maybe to do dishes or something like that. I feel like he would want that control.
Okay, Salt Bay is
a Turkish butcher.
Oh, okay. All right. He's a chef. Okay, a chef who went viral. Okay. I'll have to look him up. That'll be something I'm looking up after the show.
It looks like he's got the whole flair thing down.
He's definitely. Oh, I've seen that picture before. Now I get it. Okay, I do know who that is.
I feel like this could be you. Like you should try that. Kind of like with
this could be my Halloween costume. I'll see if I can grow the mustache, and it'll work. I don't look good in a mustache, but maybe I could if I tried this look.
Yeah.
Working with them in restaurants, that's one of the things that I have seen is they've used them to like take some of the more, menial tasks, like say frying stuff, of frying fries or whatever else that you're going to be, dropping in, and then having the actual chefs handle the rest of the stuff. So maybe they could take over some of those roles, or, working with somebody in a kitchen. But we'll have to see. I would be really interested to learn what a chef thinks about this. If you're an actual chef or a cook, how you feel about it, because I'm sure they have a different opinion on this than we do, because it's going to be impacting them more than anything else, I guess. But
But
Yeah.
I think this would
Food.
be super cool in In-N-Out. I think like we've seen this like
Yeah.
robots at Krispy Kremes, right, making those donuts. I mean, the
Hmm.
quality of the donuts is just like consistently good, and I think this would be awesome in In-N-Out. Like I just want get the like you said, hamburgers, flippy.
Yeah.
This sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. It's a huge, huge industry. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of that, and it's a growing industry. So, so moving on from food robotics, I have a couple other robots to talk about. And this next one is coming from Stanford University. And I thought this was really, really cool. And I want to know what everybody thinks. So it's for a robot diver. So it's called Ocean 1K. And the 1K stands for the fact that it can go up to a kilometer under the sea, which is further than a human realistically could go in any kind of machine, unless you're in a submarine, really. So the reason they're doing this is for that reason, because it can go way, way under the ocean and it can explore. They're using it to look at shipwrecks and scientific studies and get to different places, that we haven't really been before. But they're adding in a human element to it too. So the robot itself has a bunch of different thrusters on it that can, zip it around wherever it needs to go. But the top half of it is very humanoid like. So it's got this stereoscopic vision. So you're getting 3D vision of the cameras, where the eyes are. So you can actually see everything it's seeing. And it's got these hands that are very dexterous that actually provide haptic feedback. So the way that, yeah, they're giving some daps. But if the way it works is this can operate autonomously, but there's also a way for a person to control it in a control room. And what they do is, one, they can see everything the robot sees. But as you can see, this guy right here, he's got these two specific controllers. What those provide are actual physical feedback. So if the robot is touching, say, this shipwreck or whatever it is, it's there, right there, you feel that as well. So you feel it touching something hard or metal. Or if it's something soft, you can tell that it's doing that. When it's moving around, you can feel the water pushing on it. So it's almost like an avatar in that you're down there, with it. You're getting to experience some of what the robot's experiencing. That to me is very, very cool.
That is so cool, Greg. And not only that, I kind of love the way they make it look kind of friendly and cute.
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, until they had the human next to it, I actually thought it was a human in a mask. But
Right.
that's like super cute.
Yeah, it is. It is. And this is the second iteration. So they keep on building more and more of these. So they've got this entire really great article Stanford does just about, the process and where they're at and the things they want to do with it. And some of the really cool like shipwrecks or even planes that are under the ocean there. They've got the whole list of some of the different deep dives that they've gone to take a look at and that people have never really seen before, because it would be a lot of money and time to get a submarine or a submersible down there to these, but they can send this guy down and get there pretty easily and control it. And they're looking at it for those reasons and for also, for scientific reasons, all kinds of things you could use for this. I would like it even just for tourism, because if I could be like, go to a place and sit down and then get to tool around in the deep ocean for a while on this thing, that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, and so safe, right, Greg? I mean, you stay
Yeah.
aboard, stay nice and dry, and you can still get a sense of everything down there with no risk. You don't have to worry about sharks. Like, this
Yeah.
sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's the way they have the feedback too with it. So it's not, it can control and not like crush something, with its robot hand, grab it and crush something it shouldn't. Like it's programmed to know how to handle things. And this is, I think the second iteration. So imagine where they're going to be going with this and how much better it's going to be getting. Like, are you going to end up getting like a full suit, like Ready Player One, where you actually feel like you're swimming in it? I don't know. I think it could go there.
Wow, this is cool. This is almost like, so I feel like, like the Elon Musks of the world, their version of a video game is this.
Yeah.
I'll send this down and look at things. But I love that. I love what you said about travel. I think that's a great opportunity, right? You could have one of these aboard a cruise ship, then you stop somewhere,
Right.
you send it down, and people could just,
That is a cruise ship would be perfect for this. Yeah, if you're parked out there somewhere and you just,
let's
drop
see
this
what's
down.
under us right now.
Yeah, an underwater experience where you go sit in a little pod and control it. Yeah, I feel like the cruise industry needs to be getting all over this right now. There's also NASA, I believe, and some different space industry space companies are looking at it as well as another idea for a possible thing, if not even on water, but say on like the moon or somewhere else, or
Mhm.
even going outside of, say, like the space station. And that way it would be safer, probably not as cool for the astronaut, but safer for them to send something like this out and do repairs or whatever else they need to do. So
Totally.
yeah,
Totally.
a lot of pretty cool options there. But yeah, that's the Ocean 1K. So definitely look that up if anybody wants to find out more about it and check out their cool videos and all the things that they're doing with it. So I've got one last one here. You know, speaking of space, this is actually a trending story that just came out today, and it's talking about a professor, I believe, from the University of Nebraska Lincoln campus. They just got a big grant to send essentially a surgeon robot up to the space station to test out if they can do surgeries in space. And this is like
Oh, wow.
remote surgeries. So either you can get into it yourself or have it programmed to do certain things, but it's a pretty cool concept. And so this is brand new. So I'm actually new to this product myself. Like I said, it just came out today, of this article anyway, that about them. So it's called Mira. There's kind of a little demonstration right there. I'm taking a look at it too as everybody's watching. And it's a robotic arm that can do incisions, like actual surgeries, but they said it makes very tiny incisions that are much less invasive than a lot of things that we're used to now. And they can, and an actual doctor can control it from wherever they are and do these surgeries. And they're saying, you know, you could put this, it's going to be tested out on the space station. I don't think they're going to actually do surgery on anybody, but they're going to test it out on the space station. But they're saying this is something that could be actually applied here on Earth to all of those many, many, many places where there's not, say, a qualified surgeon, you know, for healthcare. You know, some remote areas or lots of places all around the world that just don't have adequate healthcare. You could put one of these in for pretty cheap, and then have a surgeon from somewhere else operate it and be able to, you know, help people out.
Wow, how cool would that be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
'cause you can kind of see this unfolding because if they can pull this
Mm-hmm.
up off in space, then like you said, in remote locations where they don't have adequate healthcare, then
Yeah.
eventually they'll probably streamline this and make it more affordable and more cost effective. It could be like a sous vide machine, like it's like all of a sudden
Right.
you can buy this thing on Amazon, you can have one at home, you can have it, it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of exciting to see how this is sort of the beginning of what it could be. Like, remember, Greg, when we were talking back then, when we used to wear those pagers, and then you got cell phones, and
Yeah.
this, when I was watching you say this, it just dawned on me, oh my goodness, can you imagine the future based on this?
Right. Yeah, you could have your own robot doctor at home, or your own
Oh,
kind of
yes, that'd be
robot
so
setup
great.
that could, you know, diagnose everything for you, give you health updates. And then if you, you know, have something that needs to be taken care of, maybe the
Mhm.
robot just does it. You know, there's so many possibilities of where that could go. And I love anything that helps people, that
It helps
makes
people.
people healthier or helps fix issues, whatever it is. I love that part. The other thing they were mentioning with the space side of things is the further and further that we travel, the more space travel, and it seems like we're getting there again. You know, eventually we're going to Mars and who knows where else. If things happen in space, you're going to
Mhm.
need to have some kind of care. And so if you
Right.
had a robot surgeon right there that could just at least patch up or take care of smaller things, that could be
Mhm.
invaluable, you know, when you're
It
out there.
could
So
be. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
absolutely. And we think, I know you and I both live in different cities, but both really big cities. And we sort of take really great healthcare for granted because we live
Yeah.
in these big cities. I have a good friend who lives in Hawaii, and she was saying, well, whatever we do, we don't want to get sick. She goes, because if you get sick, it's so much more difficult to get like the quality of care that you need. She was telling me that for them, like for her kids to get the COVID vaccine, they had to drive over an hour to get the vaccine and
Wow.
just to get the inventory because even on such a developed place like Hawaii, it's just still a smaller place, less people, but to
Yeah.
have this sort of technology, talk about incredible in like, third world nations or just, smaller rural
Hmm.
areas where you just enjoy sort of a slower pace, but you still want the benefit of having good quality healthcare. And this could
Yeah.
be the difference between, life and death. So,
Yeah. I mean, there's only so many doctors and medical professionals, you know, out there in the world. So they can't be everywhere. And definitely there's places with, you know, like you said, we're very fortunate here to have access, but so many people don't. So if this could help fix some of those issues and get people at least access to some basic healthcare or even advanced healthcare like a surgery, all for it. I love that kind of innovation. See where it goes.
Awesome.
So kudos to them for that study. So they're going to be setting that up, and then they'll, see how it works up there and testing things out. And they're not the only ones that are working on these kind of virtual healthcare too, or robotic healthcare. There's a lot of companies out there working on it. So always fun stuff just to see where it's going. See what we're going to get with that. So those are my robot topics for the week.
Very cool.
That I've got. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
And thanks to everybody too who's been sending in topics. I really, really appreciate that. Just anything interesting you see that you want to talk about that you think is cool, tag me in it or send me a message. I'm on all kinds of platforms, so please get a hold of me. I'll always write back. It's always fun to talk about this stuff. There's so many cool things happening. That's why I like to share just a few of them here. But please share the cool things you find with me. I would appreciate that.
And thank you so much for watching. We appreciate, and we'll be coming back to you next week. But yeah, definitely send Greg and I any information. Keep in touch. And of course, if you do share it on social, which we hope that you do, please tag us so we can thank you probably on the show. But thank you so much for all your support. We wish you well. And I guess, Greg, we're going to see everybody next week. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say a teaser next week, new phones. I'll be talking about some new phones.
New phones.
Day of too. So we got some cool stuff next week. So you'll definitely want to tune in. But yeah, I think that's it. That's it for now. Thank you so much, everybody. And we will talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
Bye-bye.